Hello, how are you? I am excited about talking to you right now. I'm going to share something with you. I want you, anyone you know that want to learn how to become more effective in telling their story, I'm going to share something with you because I call a friend, and she was telling me about this speaker training class that she went through, and when she told me what they had her doing, and she sent me a video, I said, baby, listen to me. I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. And I felt so strongly about it. I said, let me share some things with people. I've got a training this coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's taking place in Fort Lauderdale at the Marriott. I'm doing a intense training. And one of the things that has happened to the speaking industry, it's been a hijack. It's really a sales fest now. It's a sales fest. They have all these speakers and everybody's got something to sell. I've been on these platforms. And I want you to come if you got a story that you want to share and you want coaching on how to do that, I'm going to share with you how you can make that happen. I want you to go to trainwithlesbrown.com and sign up for my training. Now, but I'll give you an example of what happened to my friend. Just give you the Reader's Digest version of it. She sent me a video, and now she has a powerful story, but no one will ever know about her story. You know why? Because of the poor coaching that she has. The people who sold her on the program, they knew how to sell her to sign up for their program, but now that they've signed her up, they have now said, well, in order for you to really get it down right, you got to go to that next level. Okay, so now they're going to sell her something else. All right, I don't like that. That's not right. So I'm going to share with you so that you don't get a hoodwink. See, it's the industry is just hijacked. See, your story is very important. We know about a T.D. Jakes because of Woman Thou Art Loose. We know about a Juanita Bynum, No More Sheets. We know about President Barack Obama, The Audacity of Hope. We know about Malcolm X, By Any Means Necessary. We know about Dr. King, I Have a Dream. We know about the Kennedys. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. You know me because you got to be hungry. So you got a story. And the reason we don't have speakers that's showing up on the radar is because no one knows them because they're not making any kind of impact. Now, one of my speakers, I know, I was a speaker and she knows it. Her name is Attorney Athea Grant. She's out of London. Brilliant speaker. And she's one of the few people that I'm really committed to working with her because she has greatness all over her. But I want to use her story as an example, and I have her permission. And what I want to talk to you about is how to create special moments with your story. Number one, this is very important. People ask, how did you get started? You know the first thing I did? I saw someone who was speaking. His name is Mike Williams. And I asked him, I said, can you teach me how to speak like you? He's in Columbus, Ohio. He's been my mentor and coach for 49 years. I want you to get his book. It's called The Road to Your Best Stuff. The Road to Your Best Stuff. Serena Williams, arguably one of the greatest tennis players of all times. Guess what? She has a coach. Beside every champion, there is a coach who knows what they're doing, who's experienced and accomplished. I went to Mike Williams because I admired what he did. And it resonated with me. That day at Champion Junior High School, When I went to hear him speak, that changed my life. I went from just being Les Brown, the man about town, WVKO radio station, and I started doing other things. The power of that positive relationship. So I decided today, because I feel so good. I've been going through it. I've been through a storm up in here. I've been going through a lot of pain, and I feel so good. I went out, I walked today, and I'm munching at the bit. I can't wait to get into Fort Lauderdale. But there's some of you that can hear me in your voice. And let me share this with you. My goal is, if you want to learn how to change lives with your story, I'm your guy. But if you just want to learn how to get up on stage and sell people stuff, I'm not your guy. That's not my specialty. I was at this minister's church, and people came up. They were talking to him. They complimented him. They complimented me. And then he said, "I'm coming to your training." I said, "Why?" And I admire him as a speaker. He's a great preacher. He said, "People came up to me and said, 'I love your sermon.' And they came up to you and said, 'You changed my life.'" He said, "That's what I want to do." In fact, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm not making this up. That's why I speak, to change lives. If you've heard me speak, if you've heard me on YouTube, if you heard me on a recording, if you've been in an audience, I want you to just text me right now. Like this page and share it. But I just want you to, I need some witnesses. I want you to just say, "I'm the one. I'm one of those people who you touched. I'm one of those people that you made a difference in my life." When I heard Mike Williams speak, he made a difference in my life. And I said, hey, I want to do that. I want to speak like that. If you've ever, if I've ever, you were in a dark place, I was catching a plane. I'm so excited right now. Let me calm myself down. But I want to share something for you, because I'm so glad. I feel so good. I said, "Lord, help me get through this. Pain is very distracting. It's very distracting. And I'm not going to wait till Thursday, Friday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm going to share something with you now, because there's no guarantee any of us are going to be here. But anyhow, I want to share with you, I'll give you an example. Althea Grant is an attorney out of London, and also my business partner. And she has a story. So part of, if you want to present, part of what's very important, you can tell your story or somebody else's story, and I want you to write this down. Create special moments. Create special moments. That's number one. That you want to use stories that will create special moments. Here's something else. Never make a point without a story, and never tell a story without a point. All right? Now here's something else, and this is major. This is major. This friend of mine, this training program she's going through, she sent me a video, and I said, "That's nice." I said, "However, it takes time for you to grow your legs and for the speech to grow its legs, and it's too short to pass judgment on it." Well, the people who are training her, she just texts me. I'm not gonna call your name, okay? They're telling her she had to memorize. Not only had to memorize the script, okay, but say you got to move your hand like this, and you got to move your hand like that, and you got to walk over here, and you got to walk over there. I said, that's crazy. That's mechanical. Come on. This is what I do. I said, you want to be fluent with your story. So let me give you an example. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about your goals and dreams right now. I want you to think about it. And I want you to like this page and share it right now, because I'm doing some instructing. I'm so happy to feel good right now after going through a tough time in the last few weeks. So anyhow, I want you to think about your goals and dreams. And here's what I know. That Dimples was right. There's a guy named Dimples that had a song called If It Ain't One Thing, It's Another. Here's what I know. That when you have goals and dreams, things are going to happen that you can't anticipate. Here's what I know. That my favorite book says, think it not strange that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. A friend of mine, Althea Grant, she's an attorney now, and people would see her. She's beautiful, she's articulate, she's a passionate speaker, she's a very skillful and talented and gifted attorney. But very few people would know her story. Very few people. One day her mother told her, get dressed, come, and took her to her aunt's house. And her mother was just supposed to leave town just for the weekend. And her mother's intentions was not just to leave for the weekend, to leave her with her sister, her aunt. And this aunt didn't want Althea. And there she was, a little kid, 6 years old. How many have ever been in a situation that the people in that environment, you can feel the energy? You knew they didn't want you there. We've all had those kind of situations, okay? And so this aunt was abusive. She was emotionally and physically abusive to this little 6-year-old innocent girl. Her mother just left her there with no explanation. And there she is, terrified, needed to be comforted, and made her sleep under the bed. There was a room available with a bed with the other kids. However, her aunt made her sleep under the bed. And here's the point that I'm making, that many times you're going to find yourself in a situation and you wonder, what can I do? And I want you to keep this in mind. When you get to the end of your rope, tie a knot. You get to the end of your rope, tie a knot. Look for something that can give you some hope, something that can help you keep your mind together, something that can ground you, something that will give you some strength. And there she was, 6 years old, sleeping under her aunt's bed. And the radio was on, and a song came on, and this song gave her strength. This song stirred something in her. This song moved her. All of us have been in a situation where you heard a word and something happened inside of you. A scripture or something you read or a song, and you say, whoa, that's me. I remember one of my favorite songs by James Cleveland, Lord, help me to hold out. Please, Sir Jesus, until my change come. Come on now. I love that. Listen, that James Cleveland was a bad boy. He was a bad boy. And so on this night, when she's trying to figure out, how am I going to deal with this? My mother is gone. I haven't heard from her. My aunt is treating me like an enemy. And this song came on the radio. And the song that helped her to endure the physical and the emotional and psychological abuse. This song helped her to deal with the fact that she'd been abandoned by her mother, the person who was supposed to provide and protect her. This song helped this little 6-year-old innocent young lady maintain her sanity. I'm saying to you, I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you're dealing with. I'm saying to you, don't give up. Don't give up. It's not in your DNA. Don't give up. Giving up is not an option. Don't give up. Elsie Robinson's right. Things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. And that song was Better Must Come. Better Must Come. That was the title of the song. Better Must Come, a Jamaican song. She's from Jamaica. Better Must Come. Just with that, it helped her to maintain her sanity. Just with that, she focused on that. See, where focus goes, energy flows. And she started thinking about better must come. Even when she was physically abused by her aunt, one day her aunt started to hit her, and she had grown a little bit and grabbed her and said, "Don't you dare!" And she stopped. She was startled that she wasn't dealing with a wimp here. She is dealing with somebody who had courage. This is a person. Hey, Celeste. Celeste, please close that door, please. Because better ain't going to come to you. I know, I can hear the song playing. Yeah, she done played the song Better Must Come. You got to get the song. I want you to get the song. I love this song. Better Must Come. And so, as you think about your life, I don't know what you're dealing with. This morning, when I got up, I took my time moving, because when I went to sleep last night, I had pain in my shoulder and in my neck. You know, the doctors said that the little C is eating 40% of your T1 vertebrae, and the T2 and the T3 and the C7, and so I don't do pain medication. I don't do this. I'm not going to do that. And so there I was. You know, I took my turmeric and black pepper and ginger, and let me share something. I had something else, some CBD oil, and I was able to go to sleep. I was able to get a good night's sleep, and I moved. I didn't feel any pain. I moved again. I didn't feel any pain. I said, "Thank you, Lord. Thank you." I believe that mantra, better must come. That's what I was thinking last night. I was up like 2:30, 3 o'clock, couldn't sleep. And finally these herbs, they kicked in. They kicked in. And it gave me some relief. And I called it. Sometimes you have to call forth those things that be not, as though they were. I called it. I said, "I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking to my body. I'm speaking to my neck. I'm speaking to my scapular area. Do you hear me? You are not a part of my future. Do you hear me? You will not get the best of me. I'm stronger than you. You must leave me now." Sometimes you have to talk to yourself and remind yourself, better must come. Not will come, must come. Yeah. So your story has the power to change lives, has the power to save people's lives, has the power to stop somebody from doing drugs, stop somebody from taking themselves out. And I encourage you, the world is as it is, not because a few people are divisive and hateful and violent. No, the world is as it is because too many people are silent and been hoodwinked. Your story has value. Take the time to find a coach or somebody to help you do it. Why? Unless because you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. You can't. You need some help. That's why Serena has a coach. You need some help. You need someone with a trained eye who knows, has experience, has accomplishment, has done some things, and there's some great people out there, great coaches. My daughter Ona, she's one. She calls herself the message midwife. Dwight Pleasure and Dan Smith, they're going to be at my training. They teach, and listen, you need to come hear them. These two young men, they teach three-dimensional storytelling. Have you heard about that? Three-dimensional storytelling. It's powerful. When they came to the last training, people were blown away. When they came to the last training, people's lives were transformed. And they were like, whoa, whoa, wow. Wow, I never thought about that. This training, I'm excited because I'm looking for someone who's hungry, someone who has a passion to want to change lives like I have. A friend of mine said, you know, I haven't seen you in a long time. Man, you look good, and you've been doing this for many years. Yeah, next year it'll be 50 years. Aren't you tired? No. I said, I don't even charge for speaking. I just charge for going out to the airport and have to take my shoes off and and how they search me, and I'm ticklish too. I start laughing, their faces start turning red. I said, I'm ticklish, please don't touch me. You know, you go to the airport, they give you a prostate examination. Oh, behave, whatever. I got issues. Oh, like this page and share it. Like this. I want you to go to trainwithlesbrown.com. Get your ticket now. Don't let money be an issue. Get your ticket now. Train this. I'm fired up. I will be eating hot pepper on a fork until I get there. Can you feel it, brother? Up in here, up in here. I mean, don't go for this mechanical stuff. If you see, I teach you how to speak from the heart. If you got to memorize script, and then you got to remember how you move your hand here and how you move your hand here and how you walk over here. Come on. That's not real. That's mechanical. That worked for some people. But if you're memorizing your script and don't know how to think on your feet and be extemporaneous and be able to be creative and orchestrate an experience, that's what speaking is about. It's not about just information about what side of the stage you walked on or how you move your hand. Whatever. No, that's not that bad. No, these are rookies malpracticing in my zone. They can teach me how to sell, but I can teach them how to tell a story. You want to learn how to tell your story, and you're going to make some money. Trust me on that. $70,000 an hour, a good garden and a healthy hog, and you can make it through the winter. Let me tell you, I used to work a whole month. There are people work for 6 months and don't make $70,000. I didn't even know this life was available to me. When you know how to present, when you know how to make a point, make a difference, make a sale, you control your own personal economy. Yes, you do. I want to see some thumbs up if you can feel a brother up in here, up in here. If you've heard my voice and I made a difference in your life, I want people to know I'm not just making this up. I'm telling you, I was at the airport and the guy heard me laugh. He said, "Oh my God, you're Les Brown." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "My father died and your voice took me through a tough time. Thank you for the work that you do." He wouldn't even take my tip. He said, "I got your luggage. I'll take everything." I said, "Let me take care of you, brother." No, you've already taken care of me. You've already taken care of me. You don't even know me. You have no idea. I listen to you every morning. My children and I, we listen to you every morning. I felt so blessed and so humble. And we learn, we earn, we pass it on. And that's where I am. I know it's going to take, the road to life is straight and narrow, and few there be that find it, because few there be that are hungry, few there be that are disciplined, few there be that are dedicated, few there be that are answering the call on their life. I was talking to a friend last week, and he sounded great. Then I get a call yesterday. He had a stroke. Whoa. So that's why I'm not waiting till Friday in Fort Lauderdale. I hope that what I've shared with you has some value. If you would like to learn how to become a great speaker, not a mediocre or average, but a great speaker, if you got a story that you know that can make a difference in people's lives, do you realize, let me give you an example, just in the African American community, which only represent 2% of my audience, the suicide rate among young black kids has soared. Has soared. When you're listening to craziness day in and day out, when you don't have a sense of who you are, Dr. Carter G. Woodson said something that's very profound. You realize between 0 and 6, children form permanent personality behaviors. The Yezevik Church says, give me a child for 6 years and I'll show the man at 7. Our kids are hearing stuff, seeing stuff, being exposed to stuff that their young minds don't even have time to process. I was in a barber shop, and this guy came in with his son. Son must have been about 3 or 4 years old, and he was using profanity at his friend, and everybody in the shop erupted in laughter. I didn't think that was funny. There's nothing funny about a kid using profanity. And these young millennials, they feel that's the way you want to be effective, be real, get down. They use the F word and anything else. No sense of respect. I teach kids. Profanity is the strongest expression of a weak mind. I'm not talking to adults. Those of you that works for you, go ahead on, do that. I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you. That's my mother had a sign on her mirror. Oh Lord, help me keep my nose out of other people's business. I don't care. I don't care. That's not however you do. That works for you and that works for your audience. Fine. I don't have the mental bandwidth to sit under that kind of languaging, vulgarity, that filth that has been so commonly used, is commonly accepted. No. I don't think it's cute when a little boy calls a little girl the B word or the N word. That's not cute. So I'm old-fashioned. Yes, I am. I'm old-fashioned. I don't think a man, not a grown boy, should use profanity in front of females or adults. But what about the girls doing it? Yeah, that's right. It's a new day. There's a saying, do not go where the path may lead. Go where there's no path and leave a trail. I'm looking for some people that that's marching to the beat of a different drummer. Henry David Thoreau said, if a man doesn't keep pace with his companions, perhaps he's listening to the beat of a different drummer. Let him dance to the music that he hears, however measured or far apart. I'm looking for some people that want to change some lives, that want to make an impact, that want to live a life of meaning and significance, who want to live full and to die empty. Had a guy who was serving me the other day. Nicest young man, very intelligent, and had his pants pulled just below his cheeks, showing his underwear. And my mind's saying, don't say nothing. Leave this alone. Maybe this is his only pair of drawers, and he wants someone to have some compassion for him and give him a bigger tip so he can buy another pair of drawers. Leave this. Don't say nothing to this man. Leave this alone. He's been nice to you. He's been courteous to you. It's none of your business that he want to show his drawers. It's none of your business. Do you hear me? Have you ever had to talk yourself out of something? I just want to say, I don't understand. How do you, and I'm talking about somebody like, I'm not talking about a kid. I'm talking about somebody like 38, 39. Look 45, but I've given him some slack. I just want to say, why, brother? What do you say to yourself? When you get up in the morning, what do you have to say to yourself when you get dressed and you turn around to the mirror and pull your pants down low enough for people to see your drawers? What do you... Oh, behave. Whatever. What do you say to yourself? I don't know. I'm old. I used to think people in their 40s are old. Now that I'm 74, I was a waiter at the Lord's Supper. I shine shoes. Maybe it's me. It's me. Because I'm looking around. I said, does anybody else see this for me? I left it alone. It was hard. I left it alone. I remember there's a book I read years ago called The Kabbalion. The lips of the wise are sealed to the ears of the ignorant. He knows what he's done. He knows what he's done with his pants, to pull his pants down to show his drawers. This is an effect. This is a statement. He's making a statement. Lips of the wise are sealed to the ears of the ignorant. Yeah. I want you, if you have a story and you have a passion and if you have standards, sense of decency, I don't want everybody. My training is not for everybody. I don't want everybody. No, I don't want everybody. I want people that are hungry, people that want to make a difference, people that want to bring about change. That's what I want. Got a young man I'm working with named Jatorian. Boy, he's passionate. In other words, I call him Junebug. Boy, he's passionate. No, man. I got some young guys that I'm working with that they're going to be awesome. Like Ed Blunt and Johnny Wimbrey. They're going to be awesome. I got some coming. And some young ladies, too. Stacey MC Grant is going to be there. We're doing our call tonight at 8 o'clock. So, I don't know if you have a story. I want you to go to trainwithlesbrown.com and register for this training. Yeah. I'm probably going to do 3 more. Do one in London, thinking about doing one in Nigeria, one in Toronto. Think that'll be it. I don't know. But I know this. Some of you hear me in your ears, that's the majority. But there's some, and you know who you are. You hear me in your heart, and you know who you are. You know who you are. When I heard that first, I remember for 14 years I did not speak because I don't have a college education. I didn't feel anybody would ever pay me or be interested in what I had to say. And because not having a college education, failing twice in school, being labeled educable mentally retarded, which damaged my sense of self. But I've always loved people, always loved to make people feel good. I love to make people laugh. I was always getting in trouble in school because I talked too much. Now I get paid to talk. Okay? But I put it off for years. And Mike Williams just kept calling me every year, Brownie. Man, you can do what Zig Ziglar and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Tony Robbins do. That's who you are. Have you ever had somebody see something in you that you didn't see in yourself? And I couldn't see it. How can I compete, Mike, with people with PhDs and MBAs and credentials I don't have? A guy named Robert Root said something. He said, it's not what you don't have, it's what you think you need that keeps you from being successful, that keeps you from pursuing your dream, that keeps you from answering the call on your life. It's not what you don't have, it's what you think you need. Because what you have is enough. And then this guy spoke. I think it was a Bob Proctor event, I'm not sure. He's going back and forth speaking. And then he said, you ever been in the audience and you felt that the speaker was speaking to you? He said, there's somebody here who should be up here holding this mic, talking to you right now. He said, you know who you are, wherever you are. He said, but you have convinced yourself that you are not good enough. You've convinced yourself that you can't do this because of what you don't have. Then he went on to speak some more, and he stopped again. And he said, whoa. This dropped in my spirit. Listen, you know who you are. He said, I'm up here standing in your dream. He said, the reason I'm here holding this mic speaking and you're seated out there is because I represent the thoughts you have rejected for yourself. Whoa. I mean, when he said that hit me between the eyes. He said that, I got up and I went outside to a pay phone booth. And you can make a call for a dime. I called Mike. I said, Mike. He said, Brownie, what's going on? I said, Mike, listen to me. I'm not rejecting myself anymore. Do you hear me? He said, Brownie, take it easy. I said, I'm not rejecting myself anymore. I'm going to speak, Mike. Will you come help me? Will you come help me? He said, yes, Brownie, yes. Thank you, man. I said, you always believed in me. See, sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. And he believed in me. He still does. I went to see him speak, and when he spoke to my heart. And I admired how he put words together. I said, man, can you teach me how to do that? He said, yeah, it's going to cost you. I said, I don't care. I want to learn how to do that. And he told me what it cost. I said, man, I can't afford that. He said, then you can't afford not to do it. I said, okay. And then, listen to this. He called me, he said, tell me what you want to do. Who do you see your audience? Who do you want to speak to? I want to speak to the NAACP and the Urban League and Operation Push. Phone went dead. I called back and said, man, we lost the signal. He said, no, we didn't. I said, what happened? He said, I hung up on you. I said, why? He said, I don't want to work with somebody who has such a small vision. I want to work with somebody who want to speak to the world. And hung up again. I called him back. I said, okay, that's me. That's me, Mike. That's me. I'm Aquarius. He's a Virgo. Virgos are very analytical. Aquarius, we are emotional. We believe ready, fire, aim. You throw enough rice on the wall, some of it will stick. A Virgo will say, why rice? Why a wall? Why not a roof? Okay. One positive person can change your life. He changed my life. 2 years between us, but he's been the father I never had. Mike Williams, my newsman at WVKL radio station in Columbus, station that Pastor Mike Reeves owns now, and I trained Mike, Mike Reeves, and Kirk Bishop. Oh boy, it brings back memories. Bill Moss and Eddie Saunders. When you can communicate, I've been a state legislator, I've been a community activist. I was a bad dude too. I mean, I have to restrain myself. My children call me and say, Dad, don't get in this stuff. Dad, don't. I say, oh my God, Calvin, Patrick, come on. Stay out of it, Dad, stay out of it. It's hard. I see what's happening to these kids. It's hard. You got to train people. You're old, Dad, you're old now, you're old. I don't feel old. Be called me old. As early as I get up to use mascara to cover my gray, and you gonna call me old? Leave me alone. Oh, behave, whatever. I have issues. I got issues. Like this page and share it. Like it and share it. You have a voice. You have a story. Maya Angelou said that there's nothing as painful. There's nothing as painful as an untold story buried in your soul. Somebody out there, you know who you are, that I'm supposed to mentor you. I'm supposed to bring your story out. I'm supposed to inspire you. I'm supposed to pour into you what God has put into me, and you know who you are. Yeah. Go to trainwithlesbrown.com and register. And come if you have to come on Greyhound, Trailway. If you got to call somebody, 634-5789, and have bidwill parties and sell slices of sweet potato pie. I left Miami on a Greyhound bus to Dallas, Texas to go to a speaker training. My mother fixed me a pot of marinated frog legs. And we got to Dallas, they said, Frogman, we're here. And I said, my name is Les Brown. Y'all call me Frogman. One day you're going to hear my name again. You watch. And I knew they were watching me when I got off the bus and I got my luggage and I hopped into the terminal. They called me Frogman. Oh boy, I now hop to the bank. Oh, behave, whatever. Do you know 1 minute of anger weakens your immune system for 4 to 5 hours? 1 minute of anger. weakens your immune system for 4 to 5 hours. 1 minute of laughter boosts your immune system for over 24 hours. After watching me today, you're not going to get sick for 20 years. Okay, so you know who you are. Success is not convenient. You have to make room for it. I want you to go to trainwithlesbrown.com. Trainwithlesbrown.com. I want to thank Elaine. Thank you, Al, for helping me out. And Valerie, thank you so much. Celeste Johnson. Oh boy. I can't wait to see you. I hope that what I've shared has had some value for you. You have something special. You have greatness in you. This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's Baby Boy. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.